Welcome to our meeting and our new microphones that I don't know how to work. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I would like to make a motion to move the approval of minutes off of the consent agenda and table them until the next meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Personnel action, can we vote on that? The rest of the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Mr. Eric?
School Committee Clerk Carolyn Mendes, Girls JV Basketball Coach Cara Faria, Superintendent Secretary Ibis Braganza.
Is that new secretary here? Could we welcome her? No?
She's not here this evening.
Okay,
She'll
all
be
right.
here at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any correspondence?
No, we don't.
Okay. You wanted to move?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move item 6 up. Is that the right number?
Do I have a second? Second?
I second.
All those in favor? Okay, thank you. New business discussion, possible vote, policy subcommittee. The first one is the homeschooling policy, and it was Mrs. Farnsworth and Mrs. Polish that worked on that. So would you like to tell us what you found, please?
Sure, thank you. Okay, so the policy committee met on December 20th. We took a look at not only the Tiverton school policies for homeschooling, but also the rest of the Newport County region, Portsmouth, Newport, and Middletown. We didn't look at Little Compton. What we found is that none of the cities and towns in our coverage area have any policies which allow for homeschooled children to attend the career and technical school. Tiverton's policy is fairly liberal in that it allows for students to participate in some curricular and co-curricular classes here. And of course, that's when space is available. The policy committee, therefore, is declining to make any changes or recommend changes to our existing policy. And that's where we left it.
Do I have any comment from the school committee? No? Dr. Larkin?
So really, this was all the result of a request by a parent to consider paying tuition for a homeschooled student to attend the Rogers
That's correct.
Career Center. So really the finding is that there's actually no policy governing it one way or the other.
That's correct.
And the policies, and the subcommittee's recommending that no changes be made
Right.
to the current policy.
So not envisioning writing a policy that would accommodate this or even address that.
That was the recommendation of the subcommittee, yes.
Okay.
And I'd just like to add to what Ms. Farnworth said. There are, I talked to the superintendents from Portsmouth and Middletown. They both confirmed that they have, they themselves found out that they had homeschooled students, each have one, I believe, and they informed me that they're not paying for them to attend either.
So they have students in the
They found out-
program that they found out about, but
After
they weren't
this
funding
issue
that.
was discussed at our career center meetings, they asked and did some research, found out that they had one each, and they told me via email that they wouldn't be paying the tuition for them.
Okay. Do we have a sense of how many homeschooled students we have? I mean, more than 40. I think that came up
That's
last
correct,
time.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I had.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. About a little over 40 or
40
in that
students.
range, 40
That's correct.
students who are homeschooled in Tiverton District right now. Just actually one, sort of a question that came up or that occurred to me after the discussion last at the other meeting. When a student is homeschooled, they do not factor into calculation for state aid, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Those 40-plus students are not in our enrollment that we report to RIDE.
Okay,
We track them ourselves.
right.
Because we have to, but that data does not go towards our per pupil cost.
Okay,
It's not factored in.
okay. And our state aid is about 40% of our budget? Do I have the right number?
A little bit less than that. It's about
About-
6 million on 30.
So, well, 6 million out of 30 would be 20%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So as we discussed this last time, and I've been talking to Representative Edwards and different senators, and I think possibly as part of the funding formula, we used to have children enrolled in half-day K, so could we possibly have homeschool children enrolled partial enrollment as we do? We let them come to middle school and high school. I think we're the most liberal policy in the state. And I think it's thanks to you people coming and asking us, and I think that's wonderful, because we want to include all the children in the town. And I wonder if we could work up with the funding formula in our state level, but that's not up to us. Because as I see in the future coming, all the things even we have at this school, like a new CNC machine and a virtual welder and all the different things we're getting, boat building. And no matter how, my daughter's a homeschool teacher, and no matter how brilliant she is, she just can't teach a child how to build a boat. There's going to be a lot of things, and then the open enrollment we have, and all those great things the state has, and I'd like to have them be part of it, but that would be on the state level where they could be partially enrolled in the school, and then we'd get partial aid for them. I think that would be a way we could look into it, because I do understand the concern. Sure.
I think in all the things that got brought up, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold.
Sorry, I'm sorry, could you just identify yourself? Sorry.
Oh, Erin Cook-Dumas.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that kind of got lost in the translation, either I asked or I forgot, is I understand the cost of it, because if it wasn't my child, I would say that cost doesn't make sense. Why would I pay $7,000 for one class? So I've called the superintendent of Newport, and I don't know if it's been asked from your end, and I just don't know about it. But I asked them why it can't be divided out more. Why can't, instead of being part-time for $7,000 and full-time for $15,000, for part-time, if I'm only taking one class, why can't the $7,000 be divided down by 3 and give a more reasonable sum of numbers? Because, I mean, you can take a full year of college at BCC or CCRI for $7,000. That's, the number is a crazy number, and I get it's about money. But I also try to get you to understand that we are here, and our kids like going to school and taking activities, and I can't provide some things at my house, and it would be nice if there was more of a give and take instead of you're on that side and I'm on this side, and it's the answer you get is, well, you chose not to. That's not really, I thought that's not really what it's supposed to be about. I'm a teacher, you're all teachers. I thought it was about getting our children to be educated. I thought that really was, I'm sorry, the bottom line. And my children go to school and take some things, and they enjoy the teachers, and they enjoy the classes. And I appreciate it, because I can't teach music. I have no music background. I have an English and history degree. My children will tell you I torture them with those classes constantly, because those are my loves. My husband loves science and engineering, so he teaches them those classes. My daughter came to this school. My husband taught my daughter how to weld at home. The school asked my daughter to come back to be a representative of welder. She was chosen by Electric Boat as a #1 student in her class, and she represented the state on television. So, in general, it should be the community. I teach, I coach, my husband's coach, my children are in Boy Scouts. We are part of the community. I just am hoping that we can come to a better understanding of being included in things, because we don't necessarily homeschool because we think it's a bad place. We just have some of our own reasons, and number one is, for many of us, it's for religious reasons. So, you know, it's just some things that I think are a little bit more important. So I'm just hoping that, I talked to the superintendent at Newport, and I'm hoping that she can come to a better reasoning for their numbers and what they're doing, because I would like my son to continue with what he's doing, but if he can't, then then I guess to save the money for a year of college, but he is enjoying his class and he has learned a lot. So that's really all I have to add, is I just hope that we can just have a better understanding of each other. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Could I just speak to the question of the fee? I don't want to speak for Newport, but there is a formula that the state of Rhode Island requires career centers to follow. And it's a very complex and complicated formula that ties the cost of the home district, that is the district where the career center is located, and they take in all their factors for operations, and then they put it into this very complex formula. So the dollars that come up are predetermined by that formula. And I don't want to, I believe that previous to Superintendent Jermaine, Superintendent Ambrosi lowered the fee from what the state was charging, even though $7,000 and $15,000 is a lot of money. I believe those two fees are less. I'm sure Mrs. Jermaine, when she speaks with Mrs. Cook-Dumas, could clarify that, but I believe the fees that they charge, even though they're high, are less than what could be charged. I think the question is, again, as you said, Mrs. Black, at the state level, is that formula that they use, is it fair to begin with? You know, it seems that it's a big number that they're asking for, obviously, for a part-time instruction, but that's derived, the formula is derived by the Department of Education, not by Newport.
So, Mr. I know we've kind of been through this already, but could you explicate a little bit more for both all of us, but also people who may not be as familiar with this whole process? What exactly is our standing vis-a-vis the Career Center, sort of what are students entitled to who are in the district?
The state is divided into regions for career education. We are in the region where the Newport Career Center is located, which is adjacent to Rogers High School down in Newport, near Ocean Drive, where their high school is located. We, along with all the Newport County schools, are sending districts. So that's where our students go for career ed courses that we don't offer here. And under Rhode Island law, if you have, a child wants to go to take a program that's not offered in your home district, for example, if there was a program in Providence that one of our students wanted to take, we have to pay for them to go take it. So even though Newport's our home district, if there's courses somewhere else at another career center, our students can go there, and it's our responsibility to cover the cost. But Newport is our region, and that's where our kids go, is to the Newport County Career Center.
And if the student wants to go there full-time, it's $15,000.
Yes.
If they want to go there part-time, it's $7,000, even if that is one class and they're taking everything else.
I want to say yes, and I'll turn to Doug. And
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the invoice for the first quarter. It's actually $14,000 full-time, $7,000 part-time. There's no-
$14,000 about our per pupil cost, even though.
Per pupil, 16.5.
It's 16.
Ours is.
Okay,
Ours is 16.5, and Newport, I believe, is higher than that.
okay. So it's some percentage of that per pupil cost if they were going full-time, which is not accounting for over, there's not a linear relationship between the expenses of a given student and that per pupil cost, but just for, sort of as a number that we can get our heads around. And even if they're taking one class, it's then going to be $7,000.
I believe the state has a rate of a part-time rate and a full-time rate.
So the receiving district is going to turn a nice profit at that rate.
Well, it's not a profit. It goes into the operation of the
I'll call it a
region.
profit.
Okay, I think your colleagues in Newport wouldn't look at it that way, but
I'm sure
yes,
they would.
yeah, it's a revenue. Yes, it's considered a revenue stream for Newport, but that goes to the operational costs for the Career Center. But yes, those tuitions are revenue
Okay,
from the sending districts
okay.
for Newport.
So part-time is one course to
I
maybe
believe
three.
it's 3, less than 3 or less. Oh, 3, 2, or 1.
So it's beneficial if the student takes three classes because the cost doesn't change.
That's
It's not
correct.
by
For us, yeah.
cost.
For us, it doesn't
We're not
change.
charged by
That's
cost,
correct.
part-time, full-time, which is crazy.
Is it fair to say, though, that the laws and the policies are not really up to date because you feel like homeschooling's new, but I've already been doing it for 16 years. And there's already people that have been doing it longer than I have. So it seems like most of all these policies and billings really are out of date. They're out of touch. And I would say even with a regular student, not a homeschool student, because once again, they all belong to the community. If I wasn't homeschooling, they would come to school and would cost a lot more. They would cost a lot more money. And I know everyone likes to keep saying, well, that's your choice and you don't have to. The fact of the matter is they are alive and they have to be schooled. Someone has to pay for it. And private school, is a lot more, and that's a whole nother ball of wax. But I would think it's fair to say that the policies that everyone's going by, like even saying that my high schoolers can't take classes at college for free, but if they were enrolled, they could take college classes for free. My oldest two took classes for free, and then they changed the policy. So I really think that it's okay to say that all these things are kind of written in pencil, because it's time to update things. It's time to get with it. Homeschooling is larger than it's ever been, and it's growing exponentially. There are more and more people that follow and come and join it because they're unhappy with what's happening in school. Because you have a large sum of children, there's a lot of things that you can't be in charge of. Children not having breakfast, not getting what they need, families falling apart. And that falls on your lap, and that's a lot of extra work. I mean, it's easy for me to say to school my 5, and I have them and they behave. It's another for a teacher to have 30 in a class, and they come with a lot of extra issues. That's a lot to ask. So it makes for the day much longer for an instructor. But I guess really what my point is we keep talking about all these things, but it's time for things to change. And one of my next things is to change for the homeschoolers to be able to go to college, take that class for free like the other kids, because that's not fair. That's just simply wrong. I just don't understand why that's even allowed.
But that's not our policy, is it? Thank you.
No, but I'm saying that
Okay.
everyone like you follow your policies and the policies kind of keep going. But they're kind of not really with what's going on up to date. When you find that you need something, like you have, like your honor students and they want something, will you change your policy or you find the money to get them a class that you want them to take because it's in the interest of the community? Well, once again, homeschoolers are part of the community. It's an interest to educate all of our children. So that's the only thing that I just want people to understand. The policies are just that way until they're changed. And we don't have to keep following them. And people can start saying, these really don't make sense anymore. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Yes?
Hi, I'm Teresa Rudd,
Hi.
and I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I only came up here just to let you know that I'm another homeschooling mom. My son is going to NACTIC also. I mainly came up here just to say that it's not just Erin that's up here complaining. I agree wholeheartedly with her, and I'm hoping that you would reconsider changing the policy to be in our favor, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything?
Can I just say one last thing? So I guess my advice to you, so right now, we were back to sort of, I guess, how we ended this last time, which is that there is no policy that governs the question. And right now, homeschooled students are viewed from the point of view of the district and the policies, and again, all the different funding mechanisms as basically out of the district. And what has happened recently is that we've accommodated homeschooled students to come, into the school to take different classes, to